Hello and welcome back to another episode of Injustice For All MMA. My name is David, and this episode is for UFC 314 Volkanovski versus Lopes. I'm going to run this down real quick. Essentially, the theme of this, basically, this was the best pay-per-view of the year so far. Top to bottom, it was amazing. Amazing fights, amazing performances, amazing narratives. And the one consistent thing about this night, as per usual, is how inconsistent the scoring is. It seems to be anytime there's a UFC event that is of high magnitude, the scorecards are wonky, the people talking about the scorecards are wonky, everyone becomes retarded on how to score cards. Now, I will argue there is some nuance in some of these scores, but some of them are just so bad and are so inconsistent to what we've seen forever that at this point we should just scrap the whole thing. At this point, there's no point in this because some of these are really egregious. Some of these are, debatable in a sense. We'll get to each fight where it's debatable and somewhere they're retarded. Let's start off with the first fight of the night. Okay, Cornolle versus Cowan. Okay, this fight ended in a submission win for Cornolle in the second round. I thought Cornolle was going to lose this fight when she got taken down. It made no sense. None of this made sense. A lot of these didn't make any sense. In the first, I had a 10-9 for Cowan. In the first round, Cowan had 2 takedowns with some ground and pound for about 2+ minutes. Cornolle didn't do anything in this round at all of significance to win this round at all. Now, the funny thing about Cowan just looked very slow. From the moment she walked up to the octagon, she looked slow, like in movement. And maybe that is a little off-putting in the cage, but it shouldn't dictate how this round is scored at all. You go to the judges' scorecards where one judge, this judge, I can't right now because I'm trying to remain calm, and if I get loud, I'm gonna get in trouble. Cowan wins this first round. It's not the coolest looking round, but she wins this first round, okay? Chris Lee and Jason Greener, they score it correctly. They give a 10-9 to Cowan. That's standard. Christopher Edgehill gives a 10-9 to Cornolle in the first round after she was taken down twice, got given ground and pound for about 2+ minutes. Not heavy ground and pound, but she lost the round. Honorable mention to Christopher Edgewater. Just absolutely fucking stupid. We go to the next honorable mention. It's Gore versus Tulio, okay? TKO win for Tulio in the second round. This fight was fucking awesome. This fight was awesome. Now, I hate when I watch certain fights, and you know what you get? You get the commentary going, "Oh my god, what an amazing round." The premise of saying what an amazing round comes from if both fighters are landing both fighters are doing something of substance, right? But when one fighter is doing something of substance, you should only highlight one fighter. So for example, when O'Malley fought Moutinho and round 1 ended, right? The perfect phrase to use isn't "what an amazing round." It's "holy shit, what an amazing round by O'Malley." That's kind of what you should say. You should up the guy who was killing the other guy. Instead, we get "what an amazing round." And that's because Tresean Gore was just very, what's the word? He was just a mannequin to all of Tulio's strikes. And because he was a mannequin and very tough and absorbed all the strikes, we just had to give him some love, and that's fine. But at the end of the round, I would appreciate you saying "amazing round for Tulio," "dominant round for Tulio," that sort of thing. Let's get to the fight. This is insane. This was insane. As I was counting these strikes that were, and I count strikes that are landed clean, not every single strike. In the first round, Tulio outstruck. He dropped Gore as well, but he outstruck Gore by 60+ strikes. The moment he was itching the 40 range, I was thinking to myself, this is a 10-8. This is a 10. This has to be a 10. This has to be a 10-8. He hits the 50 mark. I'm like, oh my God, this is a 10-8. He hits the 60 mark. He outstrikes him by 60 plus strikes. I don't know what the official numbers are. I'm not looking at them. I don't trust those numbers. I don't trust the UFC strike numbers. 60 strikes he landed. Possible 10-8. I gave him a 10-8. It's an absolute 10-8. Not only that, these aren't just strikes to the head. These aren't 60 strikes to the head. He's landing to the head. He's landing to the body. He's landing to the legs. And these are all like, he's flowing. Like, when people say, oh, this guy's in a flow state. Yeah, sometimes you see stuff like that, but it's like, when you see it, it's like a little bit slower than what Tulio's doing. It's like, okay, jab, combination to the head, to the body. Like, when Topuria does it, his shit is flow state, yes, but it's like body head. It looks like a boxer. It's beautiful, but it's fast, right? The strikes to the leg are isolated. They're on their own. Occasionally, you might get the goofy striking of leg kick, right hand, right? You might get a combination like that. That's rare. But what Tulio was doing was everything. It's almost as though head, body, leg, like and it flowed so beautiful. It looked so amazing. Anyways, 60 plus strikes in that first round. He outstruck him so bad. He hurt him so bad. It's a 10-8. It's a 10-8. And then before the TKO, Tulio's outstriking Gordon by about 40 plus strikes. It was going back into another 10-8 scenario. He outstrikes him by about 40 plus strikes, and he drops Gore twice. He drops him twice. So that's my scorecard. You go to the judges' scorecards. Saul D'Amato, he gives a 10-9. I don't know how this isn't a 10-8. There's nothing that came. Listen, there is nothing that came back from Gore that can stop a 10-8. There's nothing that came back from Gore that landed on Tulio that deters every judge from having a 10-8. They should all have 10-8s. And I think for the first time, I'm going to give an honorable mention for the lack of a 10-8 from Saul D'Amato and Jason Greener. Jason Greener and Saul D'Amato give a 10-9 to Tulio in the first round. So honorable mention to them. They should have given a 10-8 to Marco Tulio. The only one that gave a 10-8 is Christopher Edgehill, the guy that I just shat on in the first fight. He gives a 10-8 correctly to Marco Tulio. We go to the next one. This one was absolutely egregious. Sumudaerji versus Raposo. Sometimes the commentary is correct, and sometimes they're wrong, and then sometimes they're like wrong and right at the same time. That's throughout the entirety of every single fight card, no demand, since ever. That's just how it goes now. I can never sit down and be like, yo, the commentary were right. In this fight, they were kind of right, but because they're never stern in their like rightness, they kind of like waffle over the place. For example, DC in the first round thinks that, I don't know what it was. I don't know, maybe he's just wrestling headed out. I don't know what's going on with him. He thinks that Raposo wins the first round. He thinks Raposo wins the first round. My scorecard is 30-27 Sumudaerji. I don't know how you have it any differently. I don't know how you have it any fucking differently. This is absolutely, it's insane. And even as I'm looking at it right now, for some reason, the Mitch Raposo scorecard won't show up on my screen for some reason. This isn't. Oh, here we go. It popped up. Thank God. I was about to say, what are they doing? They're trying to suppress the votes. Here we go. So the commentary, it's mostly DC, but Joe chimes in to then agree with him because he can't just think on his own. They both decide that Raposo wins the first round. And looking at the judges' scorecards, the judges were so inconsistent tonight, it's insane. Thank God nobody got... Well, we'll get to that. Thank God nobody got robbed. But the judges were so inconsistent tonight, it's a problem. This needs to be relooked or something. I really don't know. Something needs to be relooked. They think he won the first round. Let's go to the first round. Raposo had a takedown. He got outstruck by Sumudaerji. Most of this round is Sumudaerji outstriking Raposo on the feet, and then Raposo getting a takedown at the end. It wasn't close on the feet to where this takedown mattered. This takedown was irrelevant. Not only did he get the takedown, he did nothing with it. He did absolutely nothing with it. By the end of this fight, he then is like, what? I lost this fight? What? He lost this fight. This is a 30-27. All three judges gave the first round, so maybe you can argue a 29-28. You can't. You fucking can't. You go to that's the first round, okay? You go to where everyone thinks Raposo wins the first round. You go to the second round. And then there's this other thing where the commentary goes, it's so close that you can't be mad at the decision because of what you're doing in the fight. True, but also the fact that you guys think that it's that close to where either person could have won is ridiculous. You go to round two. Raposo had a takedown. Does nothing with it. No ground and pound, no submission attempts, so you get the point. But gets outstruck by Sumudaerji on the feet by 12 strikes. Very simple. It's basically the first round, except about 6 less strikes, really. You go to the third round where Raposo has... This is funny. This is absolutely funny. And this just shows how inconsistent the judging is. Raposo has 3 takedowns. He has 3 individual takedowns. Does nothing with all 3 of them. But he gets outstruck by Sumudaerji by 20 plus strikes. Now, by that mode of thinking, it's 20 plus strikes. But by that mode of thinking, Sumudaerji is outstriking Raposo. Bad. But he gets taken down 3 times. By that logic, why not score this round for Raposo just like you did in the first round? The inconsistent judging makes no fucking sense. None of this makes any sense. The rubric makes sense. The scoring makes sense. The scoring rubric makes sense. These judges' individual scorecards don't make any fucking sense. And that's where you get a fucking split decision that shouldn't have even happened. There should be no split decision. There should be 0 split decision. You go to the judges' scorecards. Christopher Edgehill gets the first round of Raposo. First of all, honorable mention all 3. The first round is just incorrect. Gives the first round of Raposo. Gives the last 2 rounds of Sumudaerji. That's correct. Troy Winkelpaw, his scorecard reflects Christopher Edgehill. And then Junichiro Kamijo is just fucking... He's not locked in. He's not thinking. He's blind. And his scorecard makes the most nonsense. He gives the first round of Raposo, gets the second round of Raposo, gets the third round of Sumudaerji. By this logic, just give all 3 rounds to Raposo. But he won't. Why would he score the last round for Sumudaerji, but he didn't score the second round for Sumudaerji? It makes no sense. That's the stupidest scorecard out of the 3. Absolutely ridiculous. We're going to take a pivot to Elkins versus Erosa, where Mike Beltran is just fucking switched off. Elkins is killing... Erosa wins by TKO in the first round. He's killing Elkins, right? From the moment they stepped in the octagon, Erosa landed a strike that wasn't even heavy on Elkins, and Elkins just tumbles to the ground. And at first I'm like, oh, he tripped. But then I'm like, no. Not only did it look like he tripped, but the way he came back up, he looked discombobulated. I was like, yo, he doesn't seem to be well already. Elkins is going for takedowns. And Erosa's getting up just so nonchalantly. But not nonchalantly in the sense that Elkins is really getting him. Nonchalantly in the sense that whatever Elkins is doing isn't affecting Erosa at all. And so Erosa will get up with this level of nonchalantness, with this level of no care, and will get up and will take shots from Elkins on the feet, but he will land efficiently on Elkins. Anytime Elkins fails on a takedown, he'll then land strikes on the bottom. He'll stand and land strikes from that position, eventually leading to the TKO, which takes, oh my Lord and Savior, he drops Elkins a couple times. And he's hitting him so hard to the point where after the second drop, I'm thinking to myself, or the first drop, I can't remember. I'm thinking to myself, this fight should be stopped. But guess what? Beltran's out of position like always and decides, okay, I gotta let it go on for a little bit and then stop it. To the point where he just bulldozes Erosa out of the way. Just crazy fucking just crazy nonsense. Crazy nonsense. That's the detour we go to the next honorable mention, and it's Hooper versus Miller. I was thinking this fight was going to be harder for Hooper on the feet, and at times it kind of was, but for some reason, Hooper's striking is. I mean, we've seen the progression of Hooper's striking, and it's absolutely amazing and beautiful. But it's obvious that his first mode of thinking is, "Let me get this shit to the ground. Let me get this shit to the ground." But his isn't like. His striking isn't bad to where we are thinking immediately get to the ground. His striking is pretty decent. He was mixing it up really well with Miller on the feet, but it was obvious that Miller's striking was still slightly better. I had this 30-27 to Hooper. Guys, this is a 30-27. I don't know. You can't give a round to fucking Miller. You can't give a single round to Miller, okay? You go to the first round, right? You go to the first round. Hooper had 2 takedowns with ground and pound and multiple submission attacks. None of the submissions were in, right, in this first round. None of them were in. There were multiple submission attacks. Miller had some ground and pound, right? He had some ground and pound, but that's about it. He had some ground and pound, and he had a submission attack, but that was it. I want to say attempt. I don't want to say attempt because none of them were like kind of in. So that's why I say attack, because they were just switching submissions. They were just looking for certain submissions. So that's the first round. The second round, Hooper had 6 takedowns with multiple submissions. He was constantly looking for submissions. It was actually really fun to watch. This was like a jiu-jitsu match. Please don't take offense to what I'm saying, but it was very entertaining to watch in a UFC lens, right? The crowd in these early prelims were kind of booing and restless, but a lot of the fights were very entertaining in this first half. You go to the third round where Hooper had 2 takedowns with some ground and pound and some more submission attacks as well. So there you have it on that. You go to the judges' scorecards, and I'm sure they're retarded. So Troy Winklepool, his scorecard reflects mine. That's the correct scorecard. I don't know how you exit that first round and you think Miller won that first round. Eliseo Rodriguez and Junior Shiro honorable mention to both of them. They gave the first round to Miller, but they gave the last 2 rounds to Chase Hooper. You go to the next honorable mention. This one was funny. Jan versus Jandiroba. I had this 29-28 first round for Jan, last 2 rounds for Jandiroba. Here's more inconsistent scoring. We'll get to the main event where you can get dropped like cleanly, and we're arguing if the guy who got dropped won the round. This isn't Dominic Cruz versus Marlon Vera. And by the way, Volk didn't drop him in the second round, but we'll get to that. First round to Jan, last 2 rounds to Jandiroba. I had a 29-28 Jandiroba. First round, Jandiroba. Hold on. Jan is outstriking Jandiroba on the feet. Okay? She's outstriking Jandiroba on the feet. She gets taken down by Jandiroba. Excuse me. Let me restate that whole thing. Jan is outstriking Jandiroba on the feet. Jandiroba takes down Jan, right? She takes down Jan, proceeds to do nothing on top of her. We'll get to the ending, but she proceeds to do nothing on top of her, land minimal, maybe return strikes, okay? But Jan is outstriking her from the bottom. She's effective on the bottom. She's outstriking her from her back, okay? And then to close out the round, Jandiroba has a submission attempt. That's deep. It's deep, and Jan is holding her is holding off the submission. You can argue here that, okay, it's a fight-ending sequence. She's the closest to finishing the fight. The round should go to Jandiroba. She did nothing in this round. Other than the takedown and the submission attempt, she did nothing in this round. This round was dominated by Jan. That's how I scored it for her. I'll put a close marker on it. But in no way do I think that that Jandiroba won this first round. Okay, you go to the second round. Jan has a reversal with some ground and pound, but Jandiroba has a takedown and a reversal with ground and pound, and she has submission attempts for about 3+ minutes. She dominates the second round, and then the third round, Jandiroba has a takedown with ground and pound and a submission attempt for 2+ minutes, for 2 minutes. Boom, that's where you have it. You go to the judges' scorecards. You go to the judges' scorecards here, and it's all 30-27 to Jandiroba. Insane, personally, but I put a close mark in the first round. I can't complain. Saul Diamata, Alicia Rodriguez, and Troy Wincapa. I'll have it 30-27 for Jandiroba. You go to the next honorable mention, and this is the robbery of the night. You got Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson wins by TKO in the third round because incompetent reffing by the Elvis-looking guy. Incompetent reffing. Quick stoppage. And then Anik, who I find annoying at times, we'll get to the main event, but Anik, who I just find increasingly annoying, made probably the best point of the night, which is, can we get some consistent reffing? Like, throughout the night, they're talking about we need to enforce these fouls, and that's true. I've been saying that for the top. Like, if you eye poke, first of all, your hand shouldn't be open. If you eye poke somebody, boom, we're just gonna point you straight up, and that'll force niggas to never eye poke people. If you hit someone in the groin, we're just going to point you. Like, cleanly, if you hit someone in the groin, we're just going to point you. Not like it like skated by or it touched this part. Yeah. It'll enforce the rule, right? He makes the point that, are we going to get... why are we getting... I forget the way he phrases it, but essentially the premise of what he's saying is, why are we getting Beltran, who will let Elkins die, versus Elvis-looking guy? I don't even know his name. I'm looking here. Andrew Glenn. Andrew Glenn, who will then stop the fight after short shots by Ige. Honorable mention to that, right? It was fun. He robbed this fight from going the distance. But let me just say one thing. Andrew Glenn is actually the hero here, because the true villains of this fight card are the judges, as usual, because that's the whole point of the show. I give the first 2 rounds to Woodson. It's very clear that the first 2 rounds are for Woodson. But I don't know what it is. Everyone seems to like Dan Ige. Not only that does everyone seem to like Dan Ige, everyone seems to be just very biased on the heavy versus small strikes. And Woodson definitely didn't help himself by throwing these level of strikes. But he did because just the amount overwhelmed whatever the fuck that Ige was throwing. The level of bias on Ige's shots is insane. Let's start off with the first round. Okay? Let's start off with the first round. Woodson outstruck Ige by about 14 plus strikes. Second round, he outstruck Ige by about 12 strikes. DC then brings up the phrase, which I got mad at the time, but I'm kind of like not as mad at now. He's questioning the intensity of Woodson's strikes on Ige. And as I'm watching them, I'm like, yeah, he's right. But he's wrong in the sense that he's losing the fight. He's definitely not losing any of the rounds. And I think they admit that, okay, they think he's up 2-0. But he's winning the rounds. He's outstriking Ige efficiently. He's getting hit with an occasional, like, heavier strike, but he's not getting outstruck by any sense of the imagination. Okay? Woodson is winning the first 2 rounds clear. But when he brings that up, I'm thinking to myself, are the judges going to, like, factor that in? And guess what? These judges are so fucking shit, they did. Ige got outstruck in both rounds effectively. But because he was hit with very low effort, heavy strikes, very light strikes, the judges did something irrehensible from what Glenn did. Glenn just stopped it from being an embarrassing robbery if it went to the cards. Jason Greener, Christopher Edgehill, Chris Lee, they give the first 2 rounds to Dan Ige. This is a true injustice. It's an honorable mention to all 3 judges. It's absolutely insane. It's crazy. It's disgusting. It's gross. I never want to think about this ever in my life again. It's gross. They robbed Woodson clear. And that was before he got dropped / rocked in the third round that led to the terrible stoppage. Absolutely gross, absolutely disgusting, and it's evil, it's reprehensible. I don't know what else to fucking say. We go to the next honorable mention. My computer's dying. Mitchell versus Silva. Okay, first round I gave to Mitchell. It's a close round. It's a close round. Submission win for Silva in the second round. In the first round, Silva had a submission attempt. It was a deep guillotine, but we've seen this before though. Okay, Mitchell then gets up, gets out of the submission attempt. He's outstriking Silva slightly on the feet. He's outstriking him by about 4 strikes. Whether or not you think the strikes were enough to win him this round is kind of up to your interpretation, I guess. I think he did enough to win this round, but it's close, right? Silva had the takedown. He's pushing the pace. Boom. There you have it. The thing that sticks out to me about this fight is just we're really milking this whole Bryce Mitchell controversy. We're milking it. At this point, it's done out. It's done out. It's done out. It's stupid. You can see Robbie Fox, that goofy Barstool guy, in the background going, boo, boo. It's I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'm just not famous or known or whatever the fuck. There's this thing about everything is just so attention grabby. Everything is just, look at me, like I want to be known. And maybe that's just the name of the game. But it just turned me off. It made me more mad. Why is Robbie booing? I mean, no why he's booing, but why? It's annoying. I thought Portnoy was annoying. No, Robbie's more annoying. Like, if I met Robbie in real life, I wouldn't give a fuck who he is. So, he was just so annoying. Another thing that I found really stupid, another controversy that I found really stupid, the glove touch. Okay. Charles Oliveira is my favorite fighter ever. Let's not pretend like this is a psych-out tactic. Okay, when he goes and glove touches everybody on the corner and then the fighter, it's all a tactic. It's all a mental tactic. I'm tired of making it seem like, oh, he's just super nice. Like, Charles is nice, I'm sure. But it's all a tactic. John Silva doing the, hey, you want to touch my hand? Hey, you want to touch my hand? Hey, you want to just show sportsmanship real quick? While I'm showing no sportsmanship in the actual cage is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And it's getting to the point where it's really annoying, and I don't know whether Joe's just retarded or he genuinely thinks this. He then brings up the point like, oh my God, why didn't Bryce touch your hand? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? As soon as the fight ended, he went to go like hug him. He went to go embrace with him. We've seen fights where guys are like, hey, I gotta lock in, and then I'll worry about all the pageantry later. And then Joe's just thinking, oh my God, why didn't he touch his hand? We've seen too many John Silva fights. We've seen way too many John Silva. We've seen John Silva fights where mid-fight something will happen awkward, and then he'll go, oh, and he'll put his hand out to like dap up the other guy. The guy daps him up, and then he gets knocked out. These are all tactics that people are keen on now, and yet people don't realize that this is a tactic. Just fucking stupid. Really, really fucking stupid. So there's that. You go to the next honorable mention. And that's Chandler versus Pimblett. Chandler just puts a... Hold on. Give me a second. What is this? Am I tweaking out here? Did I... Oh, okay. I'm reading the wrong thing. Oh, no, I'm not reading the wrong thing. Hold on. Before we get to Bryce Mitchell versus Silva, the scorecards real quick. All three gave him to Silva. 10-9. Trolin Kappa, Camille Joe, and Derek Cleary. Now, Chandler versus Pimblett. First round, Chandler had a takedown with some ground and pound. Like, he had some shots, okay? But Pimblett outstruck Chandler all the way through. He outstruck him by about 16 strikes. This is insane. This is a constant theme now where people are scoring. People are just scoring these bad. Chandler gets a takedown like midway through the round, lands like 4 good strikes, and then proceeds to get outstruck not only on the feet, but he gets outstruck before he even got the takedown. How the fuck do you watch this round and you think that Michael Chandler won? What kind of cachet does Michael Chandler have? This is fucking insane. It's insane. Now we'll get to the scorecards on how fucking stupid this is. Then we get a shot. I want to say in the second round or in the first round. I can't remember. I think it's the second round where. No, I think it's the first round actually. Where, yes, I think it's the first round where Chandler lands a kick to the groin. A kick to the groin on Paddy, and my mind instantly goes to, this fucker is so dirty. He does it and he turns around and he knows he did it. He knows he did it purposely. He does that and goes back to the cage. And then when they reconvene, he says, oh, we were kicking at the same time. And I'm thinking to myself, hold on. I just saw the replay. No, fuck the replay. I saw it the first time. And then I saw the replay. And in the replay, you can see this specifically. Pimblett, he goes for a leg kick that's going to land on the outside. It's going to land on the outside. And it's not as though Chandler was so out of range that this strike kind of landed wayward. No, he was close enough to where this strike wasn't actually. He was so close. This strike was not going to land to the belly of Pimblett. It wasn't. It wasn't going to land to the belly. It should have landed to the outside if he arched it different. No, he picks it up and it lands clean under Pimblett's groin. And he's now arguing, oh, we threw at the same time. Like, that was a very coincidental excuse, huh? Michael Chandler's fucking dirty. He's dirty as fuck. We go to the second round where Chandler has a takedown. Chandler has 2 takedowns. But Paddy has a reversal with ground and pound and outstrikes Chandler on the feet by about 25 plus strikes. He just dominates this round. Chandler does nothing with those 2 takedowns, and Paddy controls the round. And then the TKO finish for Pimblett in the third round. You go to the judges' scorecards. Derek Cleary, honorable mention to him. He gives the first round to Chandler. That's fucking stupid. And he gives the second round to Pimblett. Chris Lee, his scorecard reflects Derek Cleary. Honorable mention there. Junichiro Kamijo, hilarious. Has a shit scorecard a couple of fights before, but this fight, he has the correct scorecard. Gives the first 2 rounds to Paddy Pimblett. You go to the next honorable mention, and it's the main event. It's the fucking main event. It's Volkanovski versus Lopes. Volkanovski gets his belt back, but there's too much chatter about the scorecards. There's too much chatter about the scorecards, and it's too fucking inconsistent. It's too inconsistent, and the commentary sounds more stupid because they sound stupid. And then they bring up that Sean Shelby thinks that it's 2-1 after the third round. Sean Shelby can't score. He's fucking stupid too. Cool matchmaker, shitty scorecard guy. After years of watching MMA. Crazy that he thinks it's 2-1, but you can tell with that he has a bias towards Lopes. You can tell which matchmaker has a bias towards who. Anyways, Volkanovski versus Lopes, 49-46. Your scorecard shouldn't yield anything else. 49-46. It shouldn't be 48-47. I don't know where the fuck you find 2 rounds for Lopes. That's insane. Back to Anik, who consistently brings up his scorecards, and he's also in contention for commentator guy who can't score. We know DC can't score. That's like a given. We know he can't score. We know Bisping can't score. John Anik is slowly showing that he can't fucking score these cards effectively. And we'll go round by round on what I'm talking about. We'll go to round 1 where Volkanovski had a takedown and some ground and pound and outstruck Lopes on the feet by about 15 plus strikes, okay? You go to the second round where Volkanovski outstruck Lopes by about 17 strikes, but he gets dropped at the end of the round. Now, this is like the weird mixy controversy that brings up, because as soon as this happens, as soon as this round ends, DC is now proclaiming, no, I know he got dropped at the end, but he still won that round. And I'm thinking to myself, no, he got dropped at the end. He got dropped at the end clean. Volkanovski gets dropped at the end clean. And they're bringing up the fact that, okay, Lopes got dropped in the middle of the round. And I'm thinking, no, that's not what happened. Now, he's scoring it correctly if Lopes got dropped. He's right. 2 people got dropped. It doesn't matter where they got dropped at. And Volkanovski outstruck him. He would be correct in how he scores that. But no, that's not what happens. He lands heavy on Lopes and he stumbles him back. He does not, in fact, get dropped. End of the round, Volkanovski gets dropped clean, gets back up, but he still outstruck Lopes by a wide margin, but he gets dropped at the very end clean. That round goes to Lopes, right? So far, it's tied after 2. You then go to the 3rd round, and here's where the bullshit happens. Or not yet. Volkanovski outstrikes Lopes by about 16 strikes. Simple. Nothing controversial there. 4th round is where Anik wants to be cute and flex his, I've been watching MMA for a long time, but I don't know what I'm talking about. He outstrikes Lopes by about 12 strikes. He's outstriking him the entire fight. There's one instance where Lopes lands a heavy strike on Volkanovski and he starts to basically retreat. That doesn't mean diddly shit. That sequence lands 30. That sequence is 30 seconds. That sequence is 30 seconds. Just like the fucking shot that Volkanovski landed on Lopes that kind of stumbled him back in round number 2. Just like how that is irrelevant, this was irrelevant too. He lands a heavy strike. He lands a heavy strike on Volkanovski that stumbles him back and has him retreating for a little bit. And in that sequence, it's not as though Lopes starts to then outstrike Volkanovski. Most of those shots are missing. Very few of them land. And Volkanovski is landing back efficiently and counter-striking efficiently. He's also landing well on the return. And so, even after that motion, even after all that baloney, Volkanovski then continues to outstrike Lopes in that 4th round. 5th round, pretty clear. Volkanovski outstrikes Lopes by about 20 plus strikes. That's it. You can't find another round for Lopes. You can't find another round in the stars for Lopes. Okay? 49-46, I give the 2nd round to Lopes. Every other single round goes to Volkanovski. Boom. You go to the judges' scorecards where everyone wants to make it complicated and overthink it. We'll start off with Saul D'Amato, who Anik calls out at the end. And while I find a lot of Saul D'Amato scorecards to be very shit, they're not wrong. This one is the most correct scorecard out of the bunch. It's the most correct scorecard. It's the best scorecard out of the bunch. 49-46, he gives the 2nd round to Lopes. That's it. Okay, his scorecard reflects mine. Haha. Chris Lee, goofy scorecard. 49-46, he gives the first 3 rounds to Volkanovski. Honorable mention, that's nonsense. The 2nd round should have gone to Lopes. He then gives the 4th round to Lopes instead. That's ridiculous as well. We just talked about it. All right. And then Garrett Cleary, he overthinks it as well, too. He gives the 2nd round to Lopes. In his mind, he thinks this is 2-2. He gives the 2nd round to Lopes. 3rd round to Volkanovski. 4th round to Lopes. Honorable mention. And then he gives the 5th round to Volkanovski as well. But overall, this fight card was insane. It was awesome. It was beautiful. It was great. Best pay-per-view of the year so far. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you all for listening, and God bless.